welcome to the Jefferson College Spotlight as we talk about all things that are about Jefferson College. It's great to be back with you here on this edition. I'm your host, Roger Barrantine, and today it's my pleasure to have one of Jefferson College's many successful alumni that have gone on to great things since their education here at Jefferson College. My guest today is Mick Portell. Hi, Mick. Welcome to the Jefferson Spotlight. How are you?
Good. Nice to be here.
Well, tell us a little bit about when it was that you attended Jefferson College and a little bit about some of the courses and things that you took while you were a student here.
Sure, yeah. I graduated from Festus High School in 1994 and enrolled in the college here in the fall semester of 1994. I was here for 2 years. I achieved my associate's degree here, and mainly took general studies towards the associate's degree. I remember I had all the the core courses, the algebra and the science courses, and and took some electives too. I know I was talking earlier that one of the electives I took was a career exploration class, which when I came to school here, I really didn't know what type of career I wanted, what profession I was going to be in, and it was really wide open. So I think that and other things here kind of helped at least start guiding me towards where I ultimately ended up, even though at the time I probably didn't realize it. But I began eliminating certain types of careers that I knew based on my the courses that I'd had here. Well, I don't think that I'm maybe very good at that area, or that's not where my talents are at. So we'll eliminate that, and we'll think about some of these other things. And so I kind of started narrowing my focus in the time that I was here till I ultimately decided to be, on getting an accounting degree in the business school at St. Louis University, where I transferred to after I was here.
Obviously, as you mentioned that, for many students who come for an associate degree, they're really, as you just described, they're getting those general education basic courses out of the way so that they can prepare the groundwork, if you will, to transfer. What was it like for you in terms of feeling like you were prepared or taking those courses that made it hopefully seamless for you when you moved on to your next step?
Yeah, I definitely think that. I think looking back on where I was at, as a person and maturity when I came out of high school, I don't think that it would have been a good decision for me to go on to a big 4-year school, right out of the gate. I think that coming here allowed me to segue from the high school environment into the college environment, and still, I lived at home with my parents during that time, so it was a little bit of a segue to really being fully independent, and I think that really was critical to me kind of being successful long term, and so that ultimately is kind of why I had come here, and we talked earlier, I was hopeful at the time, coming out of high school, that I was going to be able to maybe play baseball somewhere, and ultimately that didn't end up happening. And so I ended up coming out here and then trying out for baseball and ended up playing there. But when I was coming out of high school and looking, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go. And I definitely, think that this was a good building block, a good stepping stone for me from an educational standpoint, and definitely think that the courses and the types of the regiments that I was in here kind of really then allowed me to step into the 4-year school when I left here.
Now, you earlier mentioned your mother and father are from the Festus area, longtime educators in Festus. Yep. You grew up in Festus. What was it that you knew about Jefferson College coming through high school and just the fact that the college was in the area? What kinds of things did you know in terms of what Jefferson perhaps would mean to you later on as you were looking for a college?
Well, I probably didn't know a whole lot about the academic side of it. I know that when I graduated, the vast majority of the graduating students from my high school did come here. I mean, people went all over the place, but there was a lot of my fellow students that I graduated with that came here, and so I think that for me that was somewhat comforting. Not being, generally a real outgoing, probably person by nature, that I had a lot of familiarities, here with me when I started, and I think that probably helped. But I knew this was a 2-year school that I could come, and I knew when I graduated that I was going to go to college. That was never in question for me, and I knew I would get a 4-year degree. And I knew that Jefferson College would be a starting point for that, and that it would allow me to go on from there. And like I said, I think that worked out really well for me.
Yeah. With that, you've now obviously graduated from Jefferson, moved on successfully in terms of completing your bachelor's degree. What do you do now in terms of the positions that you've held that you've really been able to use your education to advance yourself in a professional way?
Yeah, well, so from here I went on to St. Louis University and entered into the business school, but I wasn't quite sure which field within business that I wanted to go after, whether it was management or finance or marketing. And through taking some courses and trial and error, I decided that accounting was the area that really interested me, and it surprised me because going in, that was probably the last area that I thought I would actually
It always seems that way, doesn't it?
would actually go. And once I became familiar with what it was, it resonated with me. It made sense, and I think my academic career really went to another level once I really found the area that was really an interest, and my goals. I set some goals as far as grades and academic achievements in those last couple of years. Once I settled on that and was able to really be a high-level student in that course, and that made me feel really good. So going beyond that, when I got out of St. Louis University, I started at Emerson Electric, which is is the biggest publicly traded company in St. Louis, and I was an internal auditor for them for about 3 years and traveled throughout the country doing financial audits for their business units, and that was another good start and a good experience. And from there, I did a few years in public accounting doing audits for private and nonprofit companies and entities, and doing some tax work. And that was another good building block in terms of just general accounting and problem solving and things like that. And then when I decided, I knew going into that that was probably going to be a step for me because I didn't want to ultimately spend a career in public practice, and was fortunate enough to get a job with Rawlings Sporting Goods, which was a great company for me, being a sports enthusiast and playing baseball, to go to work for a company like that. And I spent 7 years working there in several different jobs. I was general accounting, and then the last position I held there was the director of financial planning and reporting. And with that, I did a lot of the work, financial modeling on different business decisions that we would make as a company on should we go after certain product lines or should we close certain product lines, and a lot of the analysis behind those decisions, and was a key player within the decisions of that company. And so it was a great experience for me. And then most recently, I just went to work for a pre-coat metal company in St. Louis. Started there in March, and we acquired our largest competitor in the metal coating business about a year ago. It was the end of October of 2011, and my experience at Rawlings doing a lot of merger, acquisition, integration, divestiture work is why I was hired to do this, because anytime in business that you're basically taking on a company that's equal your size and you're doubling, there's a lot to digest within that, and a lot of cultures to mesh and things like that. And so being an outside person is what they wanted to bring somebody in that had some new ideas, and so far it's gone really well.
And it's safe to say, I mean, obviously you have built in a short term of years that you've had a career, been very successful. I mean, you've had some very prestigious jobs. You're obviously moving up the ladder and using all the potential apparently that your education was meant to do. And that's exciting to be able to watch an individual like yourself from our own community working hard, putting your family and using the resources that you have to support them, and to again watch you succeed is very exciting for us as a community college.
Yeah, I think you hit on. I think it's working hard is really, I think, what I can attribute the successes that I've had. And just trying to always do a really good job with sound ethics in mind, and just being a professional every day. And I think that's carried me to where I'm at.
When you look back at Jefferson, you mentioned the academic component. You mentioned the fact that you were involved in baseball and athletics. When you think about Jefferson College these days as now a graduate, what kind of comes to mind? Is it more the academics, more the sports, or kind of a blend of the both?
I think it's both. I mean, I definitely, as I kind of just keyed on in the beginning, was not actually intending to play baseball when I came to school here, although it was certainly in the back of my mind, and I the last minute decided to try out for the team, and was a little bit of a late developer from an athletic standpoint. Made the team, had 2 good years playing baseball here, and so I definitely am very proud of that accomplishment, going from a walk-on player to a scholarship and having a good career. Really means a lot to me, but that only goes so far in life, because I wasn't good enough to be a professional major league player, to have that as a career. And I always knew that, and I knew that academics really was going to be the foundation that would carry me through the rest of my life. Sure. And as I'd said, I think that this really, my time here really allowed me to move from high school and become serious about academics for the foundation of a career and a sustainability throughout the rest of my life. And so I think that they go hand in hand, but the academics is really what has me where I'm at today.
Obviously, you spoke about your connections growing up in Festus. We spoke before we came on the air today, saying that you now live in the Imperial and Seckman School District. What is it like for you in terms of how important living in Jefferson County, having a community college, not necessarily for you, but you've got children, you've got those in your family, those in your neighborhood, those who are around us. How important is it to you to know that you have a good quality community college literally minutes away?
Well, I think it's really important. I think it's an alternative collegiate option for that everybody needs to be afforded to. I know. My reason that I gave you was, just not really having a direction and probably maturity to go on to a 4-year school. There's lots of reasons why people may choose to come to a community college. Some of it may be financial. Being able to live at home for me was another key. It saved money. There's probably a lot of people out there that would look at it for that. And I think if there was a void here in the community, we didn't have that. I think there probably would be a lot of students that would probably not have the opportunity to go to college, whether it be to get an associate's degree or even to go on to a 4-year degree after that. And so I think the college has been here for such a long period of time. I couldn't really imagine what it would be like for it to not be here.
And Mick, for a final thought, if you're talking to someone today and they're a parent or they've got a student and they know of Jefferson College, but they're uncertain perhaps of why they should send their family member to Jefferson, what would you tell them, having the experience that you've obviously had, been very successful? What kinds of things would you tell them in terms of convincing them that Jefferson is a great place to start?
I probably would tell them, that, and they could, look at me if they want to, and probably look at a lot of other people that, you can feel comfortable knowing that you can come to school here and that you will have a foundation that will lead to success throughout life. And that's why people, are going to college, is to be able to better their education, better their position at getting employment, at some point, whether it's after college or, most people have to get a job and go to work at some point in their life. And that's why people go to school, is so they can have that education that differentiates themselves from the rest of the population and from the competition for those positions. And certainly, coming here will afford you those opportunities.
I appreciate your time today, and again, on behalf of everybody here, your former instructors, the president of the college, the board of trustees, the students, exciting to see a young man like yourself, again, work hard, apply himself, remain in our community. And so on behalf of everyone at Jefferson College, we say thank you and best wishes to you. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Don't as well forget to say hello to your mom and dad, especially your mom. She was my second grade teacher.
Oh, she was?
So very nice lady, and you and your family's always been a very important part of the Festus area. So glad to see that tradition come along with you.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thanks.
Yep.
Well, then again, there you have it. We've got many Jefferson College outstanding graduates in the community and all throughout the region, for that matter, folks who have used their education and gone on to some impressive things, and not done yet, but they're really beginning careers, and again, using that experience in education. And so there's an opportunity here for you at Jefferson College. Enrollment is always underway in terms of classes, and we'd love for you to follow these outstanding graduates and outstanding alumni that we feature here on the Jefferson College Spotlight. Well, that'll wrap it up for this edition. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'm Roger Barrantine here for the Jefferson College Spotlight.